That day in September, we were in the lunchroom when Brent told us that a plane had flown into the World Trade Center. I remember rolling my eyes, picturing a small Cessna or something. If Brent had told me the sky was blue, I would have gone outside to check. One of his teachers had had the radio on during class, which seemed as unlikely as a pilot being so far off course as to mistakenly fly into a building. Tom and I just continued on with lunch until the bell rang. We were used to letting him talk without necessarily responding. I realized something was seriously wrong when I walked into chemistry. Although I didn't really get along with Miss Harris, she even looked more stern than usual, as well as, I was surprised to see, genuinely distraught. She stood at the front of the classroom with one hand clenching the other in front of her chest, watching us stream in with sad eyes behind her wire-framed glasses. "Class," she said, once we had all sat in our seats and quieted down, "I'm sure some of you have heard, but earlier today a plane flew into the World Trade Center." There were a number of gasps around the room, and some people started whispering to each other. My throat went dry as I realized that Brent had been right after all. "The assistant principal will be making an announcement soon," Miss Harris said, then quietly joined a girl in calming down her friend. Their low-toned reassurances sounded loud in the suddenly quiet room. One or two people were furiously tapping at the keypads of their phones, their faces blank with shock. I was likewise bewildered, uncertain of what was happening. It was clear classes weren't going to continue. In 15 years, I had never before had anything disrupt the routine of school to this extent. To see teachers at a loss and neglecting their lesson plans was shocking enough. Contemplating what had happened a state away in New York City was almost more than I could handle. Soon, Mr. Grill's familiar voice echoed over the loudspeaker. "Your attention, please," he said, sounding much more somber than he did at musical rehearsals. As some of you may already know, this morning New York City was the target of a terrorist attack. There were more whispered discussions. It was the first I had heard about terrorists being responsible. Today, a few hours ago, at approximately 8:45 a.m., a hijacked passenger plane crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Shortly after 9 a.m., another hijacked passenger plane crashed into the South Tower. The rest of the announcement was difficult to hear as everyone started to talk almost at once. Miss Harris called for quiet from near the girl's desk, who was now crying into her friend's shoulder. The rest of the class was a blur. We followed the schedule and the bells in a daze. Chorus class was the worst. So many people had family who worked in the city, or fathers who worked in the Twin Towers. Any sense of what was happening was lost in the sobbing and occasional wails. We left school early that day. My mother had left her school as well. And soon her, my sister, and I were sitting in the living room watching the news unfold on the TV. The reality of the situation finally broke through as I watched people running away from the falling towers. As clouds of dust covered the streets and darkened the sky, those and other horrifying images that I watched as tears streamed down my face were impressed on me, and the memory of that sombering day still stays with me.